Hello, and welcome to another show of Waking Up Conscious Discussions about our changing reality. And today I have a very special guest, David Feerick. Did I pronounce that correctly this time?
That's great, Carol. Thank you.
Yay, awesome. And David is the founder, CEO of My Wellness Clinic in Wisconsin.
Yes.
And so the reason I wanted to bring David on is because, I believe that as we are moving forward in what I call 5D reality, this is an opening reality that is really based on our connection with many things, so the body also is, the physical body is connected on many, many levels, including God. Okay, the biggest one. So, when we are talking about holistic healing in whatever way you want to look at that, we're talking about how all of the elements of self, or all the bodies of self, are how they're interacting. Okay, so we have the physical body, the emotional body, the mental body, the spiritual body, and the etheric body as well. And when there's an issue in any one of these aspects of self, it's like a domino effect, and it affects, all aspects. But I believe that, people are going to really wake up and start to want to go back to what my guys sometimes call as we're going back to the beginning, but in a new way. So we're kind of going back to the roots. Okay, and long ago, physicians they were connected. They understood the relationship between nature and the body, and even God many times. And I just heard something about they were also trained in or understood astrology as well. So way back in the beginning, they knew that there was a connection, there was a relationship with many things. So, this is why I love bringing on these wonderful holistic practitioners that have been figuring these things out. And David, he came from, well, his grandfather was a physician, a surgeon in the traditional field. However, he seemed like he was a little wiser than many of the doctors today. And understood that there is, some core issues going on here besides what you're seeing on just the physical level of the body. And let me see. David has a story to tell, and I love hearing these stories because it's a story that is shared by so many. How trying to go and utilize what's in our mainstream to heal ourselves, or to to help us in some way, and it just doesn't seem to do the trick, and we keep going and going. We kind of get exhausted until the point where we say, we finally, it's sometimes it's that 11th hour, we call God for help. We finally reach out to our guides and angels, and and then they all of a sudden point us in a little better direction. And so all of a sudden someone steps forward and says, hey, there's this doctor that I use, check this out. Or there's a book that you start to read, and it starts to open your mind and your heart to some of these other possibilities. And then you start moving down the road. So David, I would love for you to share your story first of all, and then we'll go into some of your expertise as well, because you are a TCD practitioner, which is True Cellular Detox, and also a certified health coach.
Yes.
So you have a lot of information for us. But again, first, I'd love to hear your story. What happened to you that brought you into looking for these holistic holistic approach, digging under the symptoms to look for the root causes.
My story goes back to a little boy, and we had a lot of soda in the home. And I always try to eat healthy, but you know, like a lot of us, we try to manage our emotional state with food. And so what do a lot of us do? We go to the candy, we go to the turtle sundaes and the things that make us feel good, but they're also poisoning our bodies. So I had a lot of toxicity from some of the food I ate, some of the things I drank. And then because of that, I had a lot of tooth decay. And that opened the door for 19 amalgam fillings in my mouth. Amalgam fillings are half mercury, so I had a lot of mercury in my mouth, which led to mercury toxicity. And I knew that that was not good. So I went to my dentist and said, I want the amalgam fillings taken out. And he couldn't figure out why. And I said, well, I know it's just not good for me. And unfortunately, there's a protocol to follow to do it right. And he didn't know what protocol to follow to do it right. So my body, in the process of these amalgam fillings being removed with a high-speed drill, I was breathing a lot of methyl mercury vapors, and a lot of the mercury released right to my brain, to the brain.
Wow.
So then in addition to that, I had mononucleosis twice. So, I was in high school and college when I had mono, and that was not fun, which is essentially Epstein-Barr virus. And what we have to look at is the terrain. So when we have heavy metals in our body, that creates an environment, a terrain for bad things to happen, whether it's parasites or virus load, other pathogens. So needless to say, I didn't feel real good, struggled with brain fog, struggled with a lot of things in life. And so then I was on a quest to find solutions. My grandfather, when I was a young boy, kind of taught me, if you ask the right questions, you get the right answers. So I picked up on that, and I started asking a lot of the right questions and found some brilliant doctors, Dr. Simon Yu, Dr. Jeff Turnbull, Dr. Dan Pompa, doctors that were able to mentor me and coach me and help me get through a detox process with myself. And so I also learned in that whole process that toxins not only come from the food we eat, the air we breathe, the water we drink, but also things that we put on our skin, any lotions, shampoo, toothpaste, deodorant. Anything we put on our skin goes into our bloodstream. So that's also another source of toxicity. So now that we have all these toxins in our body, and it seems like as time progresses here, there's more and more toxins that we are in contact with on a regular basis as the food industry and the personal care product industry, they've almost they don't really look at, toxicity. They just look at a lot of times, what's going to make us feel good or what's going to cosmetically make us look good, but they don't really have a lot of concern for things that we put on our skin or in our mouth or shampoo, the toxic aspects of these things. So what I learned in this whole process of detox myself is, how do we help other people? And we're all toxic, let's face it. Now it's a question of, how do we get the toxins out of our body? So I've got a few little bullet points here I'd like to share with people, and hopefully everyone will connect with this. So here we have a three-legged bar stool. Carolyn, can you see this okay? The three-legged bar stool?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. So we've got the gut microbiome, we've got toxins, and we've got our DNA. Now, toxins can affect our gut microbiome. And, more and more we're learning that if our gut microbiome is a mess, our brain is a mess. A lot of doctors in the area of mental health are finding out that anxiety, depression, a lot of mental health issues stem in the gut. We've got this thing called the vagus nerve. It's the gut-brain axis. And there's a lot of science showing that unhealthy gut, unhealthy emotional state, unhealthy mental health. And so that's a real problem today that we need to address. And
Okay, I've got a question.
yes,
Because of over a year of the COVID scare, I'm going to call it, okay?
you bet.
And because a lot of people had a lot of fear coming up and a lot of emotional, trauma, let's just say,
Right.
coming up on various levels. Have you noticed an uptick in people, having gut issues due to that?
Definitely. There's
Okay.
no question about that. Because stress can trigger gut health issues, along with when people are, when they're depressed, when they have anxiety. Again, they eat to really manage their emotional state. So what are some of the things that make people feel better? Candy and ice cream and alcohol, and the very things that actually poison our bodies are the things that people reach to. They knew that it wasn't healthy for them, but they knew that it made them feel good.
So they
And
had
so
a double whammy. It's the food, the beverage, and the emotional state.
exactly.
So it was creating a perfect storm in the gut.
That's exactly right. No question about that. And people didn't really understand this. All they knew is that a lot of people gained weight during the whole lockdown. Um, they didn't really connect the dots as to how they were eating differently. The junk food, fast food, I mean, that was quick and convenient. They could just pick it up, go home and eat that, rather than maybe going to a restaurant and eating, healthier food in a restaurant. So that all created, more problems.
Mhm.
And
And the social isolation too was, depression.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
And then kids were socially disconnected. And so, they suffered from anxiety and depression because they no longer felt that connection with other people.
Mm-hmm. And
So
the parents, their stress levels went way up with the kids home.
that's
And
that's
and kids, they're kids. They need to. They're energetic, and they need something to keep themselves busy constantly. And so, yeah, it was. It's been really very, very stressful and difficult for parents as well as children and
it was like the
grandparents and everything.
you bet. It was like the perfect storm. There were a lot of factors that were, as you pointed out, that were coming into play at one time. And that just created a real mess in a lot of people's lives.
Okay, great. And so now that the gut is all confused and just not feeling good, what is
Right.
the next step here?
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about the gut microbiome. So the gut, because of the toxicity in the gut microbiome, that affects our genetic expression. So what doctors have found out is that, for years, I think a lot of people have been taught that you're going to get what you're going to get, and that's just your DNA. And so whether it's diabetes or cancer or heart disease, you're just going to get what you're going to get, and there's nothing you can really do about it. And they correlated that a lot of people that, they're second, third, fourth generation heart disease or cancer. And so that's just the way it is. It's all in your genes. But now a lot of doctors are saying that it's really, what are we eating and what are we thinking? Are we thinking toxic thoughts or healthy thoughts? What kind of environment do we have in the home that's either creating health or creating disease and health conditions? And so what they're finding is that toxins can affect our genetic expression, which can manifest in different health conditions that, like I just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we really need to focus on here is, what is the root cause of this genetic expression? What is driving it? So we've got toxicity, we've got the gut microbiome, and all of these can affect our genetic markers. These are genetic markers, which cause our genetic expression to express itself in a way that's not a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I can share also with people is that in order to be well, we really need to fix the cell. So we need to detox our bodies at the cellular level. And so I'm just going to draw a cell here. The cell has a lipid membrane. Can you see this, Carolyn?
Yes, yes. So it's kind of like a skin over top, like a layer.
It's a
lipid membrane. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the lipid membrane, it's a fatty layer around the cell. And then we have hormone receptors. And the problem with toxins is that they get caught in this lipid membrane. This is where toxins get caught. They get stuck there, which causes inflammation at the cellular level. And what that does is the inflammation, this is inflammation right here. So now we've got inflammation at the cellular level, which is blocking our hormone receptors so that hormonally we're going to be off. And the other thing that it does is, so we've got nutrients that come into the cell, and we've got mitochondria within the cell. The mitochondria are what produces our energy. It's called ATP. And so that's our energy. So when we have cellular inflammation, the nutrients don't flow as freely into the cell to fuel our cells, to fuel our mitochondria, to make ATP, to give us energy. And then we've got a big problem with toxins leaving the cell. So now we're creating a barrier for the nutrients to get into the cell, for the cell to make energy for us. And then what energy is made, that the toxicity that each one of these mitochondria is like a fireplace. Like you throw wood in a fireplace. Mm-hmm. And so what happens if you close a damper in a fireplace, you got a smoky room. Mm-hmm. You got toxic air. So when you've got cellular inflammation, now the toxins have a hard time leaving the cell. Okay. And now you've got cellular toxicity, mm-hmm. which creates a real problem.
Right. And because the body is designed to heal itself, right? So the body is continuously, when there's a toxin introduced into the body, and again, this is on every level, not just physical level, but let's just talk about physical level. The body is working on getting rid of that toxin, just like, and so you're saying that that membrane, that the inflammation is preventing some of those toxins from leaving the cell.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
That's exactly right. So, and we've all heard about, colon cleanses, and we've heard about gallbladder flushes and things like that. And, a lot of us, we do infrared saunas and we do colonics. We do all of these things, which are all really good things mm-hmm. to help get toxins out of our body. But at the end of the day, we need to fix the cell to be well. So if we're doing all these downstream things that are helping to get toxins out of our body, but we're not going upstream to fix our bodies at the cellular level, we've got problems.
Yeah. Okay.
No question.
What do you suggest, David, to get that cell healthy again?
Well, first we want to identify the source of toxicity. So in my case, I had amalgam fillings in my mouth. I had mercury fillings in my mouth. I had a lot of toxicity in my body from things I was putting on my skin. A lot of the skincare stuff I was using, the sun blocking stuff that I used that had a lot of chemicals in it. Deodorant I was using that had chemicals in it. Cleaners I was using at home that had a lot of toxic odors, bleach, and a lot of other things that are very toxic. You don't want to be breathing these things, because anytime you breathe in toxins, now you're entering toxins into your lungs, and it's going right into your bloodstream. So the first thing we want to do, Carolyn, is we want to identify the source of toxicity and eliminate the source. And then what we want to do is get with a practitioner, somebody who really specializes in detoxing the body, somebody that can kind of coach you and guide you, because if you detox too fast, it can create a load on your liver, your kidneys. You can actually create damage that you never want to do. So, our approach is always to go very slow and to detox at the rate that your body can handle it safely. So that's really important.
And then I would see that as you've got to love thyself. You've got to love your body. You've got to love every aspect of you that's, just a part of moving into that wholeness of being and that wholeness of health.
You bet. What do we deserve? Do we deserve to be toxic free? Do we deserve to get the toxins out? Do we deserve to be happy and healthy? Do we deserve to think healthy thoughts and happy thoughts? Do we deserve that, or exactly?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so let's see. So in your practice, let me see. Well, let me go back to. There's a couple of other things. Is EMFs? That is another source of toxins.
It is.
So can you kind of explain a little bit, because that is a subject that's been coming up quite a bit, especially with 5G. And so can you kind of explain to our viewers what that is and how it also affects your body?
You bet. Ideally, what we want to do is block the 5G frequencies from hitting our body, but we can't. I mean, there's no way to block it unless you build yourself a lead box and sit in the lead box all day, and that's not too practical.
Right.
So there's different devices out there that will help your body to recalibrate the frequency of a healthy cell. So you've got all of these EMFs, the 5G and everything else.
And can we just for a moment, for people who don't know what EMFs are, can you, it is the electromagnetic frequencies, right? Is that what it's?
Correct.
Okay. I forget. I just use the word EMF, and I know what that means, but some people may not know what that means. So, it's kind of funny, because when wireless started to become the thing, I remember looking at my desktop computer all those years ago and looking at the router, and I'm like, wait a minute. There's going to be energy flowing from that router to my cell phone and to a laptop and I just thought logically, and what happens when I'm walking in and out of those waves of that connection? That's got to be affecting myself. It's got to be affecting the environment in my home. And they have found that, yes, that is absolutely true. And yeah, so I just wanted to give a little bit of a background, for people who don't really understand it or haven't really looked at it seriously, because I think that if they do turn on 5G, and I've also heard that they may have a 6G, which is a more of a harmonious frequency, something completely different, and I think it's connected to the Tesla energy as well. So we shall see.
Yeah, especially when people are in apartment buildings or high-rise towers. So not only do you have a router, but everybody else in the building has a router. And you're in a downtown area where you've got all of these cellular frequencies that are going through your building. So you're getting hit at a high level. So it's really important to have something to protect your body, to recalibrate your body.
Okay.
I happen to use what we call it's a Q3 device. It's a hologram device. And what this does is it helps to recalibrate your body so that while you're being bombarded with the EMFs, the Q3 helps to recalibrate your body and get your body back on track with a healthy frequency. Okay. And there's other devices like that out there.
Okay, so do you know kind of the technology behind how does that happen? How does, here I'm getting hit. I mean, we've got the smart meters too. That's all part of it. Anything that's wireless
Right.
is going to hit you with the electromagnetic frequencies. So what does these devices, because I mean, I've seen them before. A lot of people have heard about them. What does it kind of makes a shield around you? Does it interrupts it, or you said it recalibrates it? So it recalibrates it into a more positive frequency?
It does. So it's a hologram device, and what it does is it transmits the frequency of a healthy cell. So while we're being bombarded by all of these EMFs, which are unhealthy frequencies, that can throw off the calibration of our body at the cellular level, the Q3 is a device that it's transmitting the frequency of a healthy cell, so it's recalibrating us.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So basically, you've got transmitters on you that are making adjustments for the bad cellular frequencies.
Okay, so they're working in harmony with the the body intelligence, your physical intelligence.
Correct.
As the body is trying to, it's like a fish in swampy, dirty water trying to get some air. So these devices can help to kind of open up that to help the fish or the body to finally breathe some more air in.
Exactly right.
Okay. And then the another source of toxins is, what a lot of people, I'm just going to come right out and say it, the chemtrails. There are, that's, I mean, when it comes down, from the sky, I mean, that's affecting our air, the air we breathe. It's affecting, anything that's been planted. So, and I, even, I mean, I try to buy as many organic products as I can, but also, I'm also aware that, it's been out in the rain, and the rain has some of those toxins in it as well. So there's only so much that, that they can do about that. But still, I still recommend, organic, produce and products and things like that. But still, it gets in the water supply. It gets into everything, and so. That's another problem that I believe that is, at the end of days as well. I think the gig is up on that, but that's also something that's been building in our bodies, and our bodies have been, saying, what the heck, stop that, stop it, So, another reason why we've got to really take really good care of ourselves.
You're exactly right, Carolyn. So what I do is when I buy organic food, I have white vinegar, and so what I do is I put it in a Pyrex container, white vinegar, and I soak the veggies or whatever I want in white vinegar for about 20 minutes, and then rinse it off. And the white vinegar helps to draw any toxicity out of it.
Okay. Now, what about because this is something I've been kind of pondering too, is that what about, let's say, organic potatoes? Okay, they're in the ground. They've been growing for, a couple of months or however long it takes for a potato to grow. And the soil, even though it could be organic soil, but yet, the rain has this toxicity in it, and the soil is soaking it up, and it saturates anything that's been growing in it. Now, do you, I hope I'm not throwing you something that is kind of, too out there, but, are we able to get draw those toxins out with, like you said, the vinegar, some of the other products that will remove the toxins from the outer layers, or is it just prayer? Because I do believe, I mean, if we are praying over our food, giving thanks, and what I was told once, and I just love this phrase, is, before you eat, is you stop, you give gratitude, and also say something like, I'm grateful for or thankful for everything that is here in front of me that I'm eating and drinking from
Yep.
seed to table. So if we are blessing the potato from its, beginning seed form, and then we're also in that same, we're blessing the soil that it's growing in. We're blessing the rain that is nourishing it. We're blessing those who are tending to it, and then taking it and washing them and bagging them and all of that. So when we're blessing every single step of the way, I believe that also can change, and clear those toxins, and actually bring our food and beverage into its higher state of nutrition.
Exactly right. You're exactly right. I even bless, if I drink water, I bless the water. Whatever I drink, whatever I eat.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm in a restaurant, I'll bless the food and the people that prepared the food, and all the people that were involved with harvesting the food.
Mm-hmm.
I just pray blessings over all those people.
Yeah, I think that's huge. It's key, and it's something that's so simple that but we forgot, in our busy lives, and people don't focus on that anymore. And I think that's another thing that we're going to come back around, and we're going to start to realize these things. That
Exactly.
again, 5D is about connection, and we have a relationship with everything, even the food that we eat, the people that were involved in bringing that to us for our health. So let me see here. Let me see if there's another. So let me see. So what are some of the other things that we can do to kind of when I say raise the frequency of our body, it's raising the health of our body, because I see everything as energy. Everything is frequency. Everything is a creation. And we have the ability to change the way that creation behaves and acts and all of that. So exercise, of course. Besides really good nutrition. And what else would you recommend, David?
Who are your friends? Who are the people you enjoy spending time with?
Yes.
What books do you read?
Excellent.
What podcasts do you watch? What TV
Movies.
shows do you watch?
Yes.
What music do you listen to?
Mm-hmm.
So what are you feeding your spirit with conversation and books and media? What do you feed? Are you feeding yourself junk food? Or are you feeding yourself healthy food with your relationships and the things that you read and watch?
Mm-hmm. Yes. That connection with with your emotional state and also your mental state. Where are you at? I remember, back in my teenage years, and this is something that people typically do, is, you suffer a heartbreak, and then all you want to do is listen to these, sad love songs. And I remember, being conscious of that all of a sudden. I'm like, wait a minute, this music is not making me feel better. It's like, misery loves company. And I just thought, that makes no sense. I don't want to be in misery, but a lot of people don't notice that. And for, some people that are conditioned, emotionally to not feel good, to be stressed, depressed, be in that negative state of mind. I think that, people need to become, much more conscious about, what are you feeling happy and good right now? Or are you feeling depressed, stressed, down? And then, look what's causing that, because that is going to affect the cells in your body. I mean, it's that domino effect.
Exactly right.
Causing all kinds of toxins to really, have a party, in your body. And that's not a good thing.
It's not. It seems like people have a tendency sometimes to have a pity party,
Yeah.
or to feel like they're a victim. And essentially what they're doing is they're putting themselves in a jail cell, and they're holding the key to open the door to let them out of jail, but they don't want to. They want to hang on to that key, and they want to have their pity party, and nobody get in my way of my pity party, because this is my party. And what they don't realize is they're hanging on to the key that's going to let them out of the jail, but they don't want to do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I see that so often is, and then a lot of times those people will say, well, yeah, of course I want to get better. I don't, and then, but you don't see them taking any action
Right.
towards that. And when I see that, I know that, okay, that is not going to be a good client for me, because they're not serious about moving forward. So when someone comes to me, and wants to move forward and to grow and to, experience, a more, a better relationship with self, with God, with the world, they've got to be serious about it and take full responsibility. And I think that that's what you teach as well, in your clinic, is it's about taking responsibility. You can give them the tools, you can give them the knowledge, you can give them so many things, but they've got to use those things and be serious about it. Take full responsibility for the condition that they're in. And we can blame so many different, people and things, but at the end of the day, it is us. We are the ones that that have the ability to, well, and I like to see things as challenges, so that people get out of that, victim mode. Is, your soul put that challenge there in front of you, and it wouldn't be there if you were not capable of overcoming it or of moving into mastery in some sense. So, take the challenge, and when you do, you experience real health and freedom. To me, real health is freedom. And on many, many levels.
Carolyn, what are some of the things you found to help people have the courage to take the key that they're holding on to open up the jail cell and let them out? What are some of the keys that you find are going to help them have freedom in their life, to be free?
Well, I just try to help them to become conscious of what they're feeling and take responsibility for that, but not in a way that is scolding, because it's not about scolding. And I try to take the a lot of people feel embarrassed, or like, oh, you're blaming me. It's not about any of that. It's about coming into a neutral place and just seeing everything as, I like to call it as part of the game. We're all here, we've got challenges, and it's up to us if we're going to rise to the occasion or not. So, I like to explain to people that, I bring it into the basics of, you've got the soul self and you've got the ego self. This is what duality is about. You've got two parts of self. So become conscious of what these two parts of self are, what they do, how they affect you, and know that every single moment of the day you have a choice as to which part you're going to dance with.
Right.
And then the effects of that. And it's all about, it brings choice back to the table. You're not a victim, you've got choice. And the bigger the challenge, the greater the victory, when you when you just, again, take responsibility. And also, it's about respecting every aspect of the situation that you're in. There are things. So what I do is I try to get people to understand, to look at things from their soul's perspective, because your soul's perspective is very objective. So now you can see things without getting into the emotional reactive storm of the ego self, the wounded self, because you can't get anywhere there. You just can't get anywhere in, and you can't dance with the drama. If someone wants that, and that's fine. I think, if someone wants to continue being a victim, that is their path, and we have to make sure that we're not judging.
Have
So,
you seen that unforgiveness and shame are two things that can really get in people's way of having that kind of freedom?
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So it's, you know, uh, understanding and connecting to that soul self, which is, it's your relationship with God. It's the part of you that's, that's connected to God. And so, when you start to, reignite and connect with that relationship again, your whole perspective can completely shift. And all of a sudden, you start to receive wisdoms and knowledge and guidance, that you can't get when you are in ego mode or in victim mode or in, I'm unhealthy. And people, for instance, people with cancer. A lot of people believe, it got passed down through the generations. I'm bound to get it, and they're just so they surrendered to that, possible prognosis. And I just say, what, you're setting yourself up. You probably will get it because that's what you believe. Okay.
Yep.
And in those thoughts, you're not connected to the possibility of full health and your soul's ability to heal you, your God's ability to heal you, to change your projection. So we are responsible for our projection when it's, a matter of, am I going to dance with my ego self and keep having that pity party because it feels so good, because it's so comfortable. That's all I know. For a lot of people, that's all they know. So, we have to have a lot of compassion for them, and just be ready for them to finally, say, I'm ready. I'm finally ready. And then see them start to make some steps, and then, lend them a little hand and help them, move along. But I think that, respect in all ways is huge, because a lot of people that, they come to you, they come to me, and they're ashamed of something, they really are ashamed. They feel, that I don't know, that they are responsible, and in a way, yes, they are, but not, they can't see that as in the way that they do. That's very toxic. The ego self is toxic, and but yet it's also a very valuable teacher. It's what we run up against that is the opposite force of our health, our wealth, our happiness, right? And we learn a tremendous amount when we do run up against the opposite of self, and the opposite of what we want.
That's an interesting point, Carolyn. And all I can think of is how oftentimes when people are stressed out and they've got anxiety, they'll reach for the junk food and the sugar and the very thing that's going to essentially that makes them feel good, the feel good food, the comfort food, but it's toxic, and it's actually taking them into a rabbit hole of toxicity, which creates all kinds of health conditions.
Right.
The same thing with people that, as you pointed out, people that they're almost addicted to self-pity or their victimhood. And when they have that addiction, they feel good when they're in that mode. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just right. Like when they eat the turtle sunny and drink the soda, that, it's yeah. That, right?
Yes. My two grandchildren, love sugar candy. And, grandma is always coming over with fruit. And I say, this is nature's candy. Isn't this delicious? And they love, I'm so lucky. They love fruit. So that's a good thing. So grandma's the one they're trying to kind of keep throwing in the healthy things. Mom and dad, they do, provide them a good, a decent diet, but still, you know, I see candy and I see some of the cereals. I'm like, oh no, no, you know, just take all of that sugar out. You know, we don't really need that. And but you know, grandmas or grandparents can only do so much. But I try.
Well, you're getting it done. There's no question about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so David, I think we're kind of coming to the end of our time. But I want to have you on, with another, Dr. Amanda Theory, who I've had on. And, you know, we're all looking at different options for, you know, people that are dealing with coronavirus and things like that. So I know we've all been looking for different, you know, solutions and remedies and things. And so I want to have a show with all of us, you know, discussing some of these other solutions. You know, so I'd like to, you know, get together and do something, you know, along those lines. So if you're game.
That's a fabulous idea. I like the way you think, Carolyn. That's great.
Yeah, yeah, because you know there's a lot of options out there, and you know, we don't have to go down the scary route of the unknown, experimental. You know, being an experimental guinea pig. I don't think I don't feel that that's necessary.
You're
And
exactly right.
I think that there's a lot of solutions out there, but anyways, for another time. So, but before we wrap this up, is there anything that you want to share with the audience? You know, in regards to, you know, what is maybe like the number one thing, to shift that reality of getting out of the toxic, toxicity that they're experiencing within their body, or the unhealthy, you know, condition in their body. If there was one thing,
I would say take an inventory of the things that you're eating, the personal care products, your shampoo, your toothpaste, your skincare. Take a look at the people you hang out with, the conversations you have, the movies you watch, the music you listen to, the podcasts you watch, the books that you read, and kind of take an inventory. And after you take the inventory, just take a look at that list and go, you know, these are toxic relationships that I might want to rethink, or toxic food, or toxic personal care products, or toxic cleaning products, and just evaluate for yourself as to what you might want to remove from that list, and then take it one step at a time. You know, you can't do everything at once, but just there's an old saying, inch by inch it's a cinch. So
okay.
don't get overwhelmed with it by the list, but just slowly, one day at a time, start removing things that you know that are not really contributing to your health and wellness.
Okay, and I'm going to put at the end of this video, how people can contact you, you know, to receive assistance and help in their journey back towards health.
You bet.
Is there anything that you like to say around that? You know, you've got different programs, or I mean, how, if someone wants to come into your clinic, how would you start them with the
Because
conversation?
I've done a lot of things remote, so I like to do like an interview, and just there's no charge. Just, you know, it's a conversation where we can kind of try to flush some of these things out, and put together a plan, and then whether or not people want to pursue the plan to help detoxify their body and their life, then great. And if they don't, then that's great too.
Okay, so you're offering free consultation.
Yes,
Have that conversation. Okay, wonderful.
absolutely.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you, David, so much for joining us and for sharing your wisdom. You know, I appreciate everything that you do to help others and yourself, because I know that you've come a long way overcoming, you know, all the toxins and things in life. So, yeah, I appreciate your journey and what you're offering to others. So,
Yeah, Carolyn, one thing you are. Thank you for all you do, and most importantly, thank you for who you are.
Oh, thank you, David. Thank you. And I would say the same for you as well.
Thank
So,
you.
so thank you everyone for tuning in and watching. And again, at the end of the video, I will have David's information available so that you can contact him, and also his website so you can get a little bit more information. So until next time, abundant blessings.